everyone, welcome back to Obscurus Lupa Presents Tremors. Backstory time, sorry folks. Sometimes I review cheesy movies just because of my love of cheesy movies, and sometimes I review films because they mean something to me. Tremors would fall into the latter category. Growing up, the Tremors movies were always airing on the Sci-Fi Channel, and whenever they'd come on, I'd sit and watch them with my family, particularly the first two. So I've always kind of associated them with family nights, eating dinner or ice cream, and always laughing at Burt Gummer. That one scene from the first movie? You know the one. Gotta laugh every time, no matter how many times we saw it. Oh, and seeing as how I usually don't do movies people have actually heard of, I want to address the new viewers in the audience tonight. First of all, welcome. Secondly, I don't usually have this much backstory, promise. Thirdly, sorry I'm not less awkward. That doesn't really get better. Okay, the review for really reals. Tremors was a theatrical movie that came out in 1990 and became a cult success, which meant 3 sequels and a TV series. But today we're just focusing on the first one. This is the tale of 2 handymen, Val McKee and Earl Bassett, who have but one goal: get the hell out of Perfection, a town consisting of about 14 people in the middle of the desert with no future prospects. Getting out of Dodge is all well and good, but there's one problem. Some underground creature is eating everyone. Isn't that just the way? It starts with Kevin Bacon peeing into a canyon. Oh, spoiler warning, Kevin Bacon pees in this. This is Val, Fred Ward as Earl. They're both handymen, but they spend most of their time bickering like an old married couple. They usually come to a consensus via communication and a willingness to make this marriage work, aka they do paper, rock, scissors. This will be a running motif.
Damn it, Valentine, you never plan ahead. You never take the long view. I mean, here it is Monday, and I'm already thinking of Wednesday. It is Monday, right?
Upon discovering there's a new chick in town, a grad student running seismology tests, Val rushes over to hit on her. But uh-oh, she's got sunscreen on her nose. Ew! No thanks, Uggo!
I'm a victim of circumstance.
I thought you'd call it your pecker.
The two of them roll into town and we're introduced to some of the neighbors. There's Melvin, the annoying little shit you will come to hate, Nancy and Mindy, a pottery-making mom and the little girl from Jurassic Park, Walter Chang, the owner of the town store, and Bert and Heather Gummer, a couple of paramilitary survivalists played by Michael Gross and Reba McEntire. Yes, Reba McEntire starred in a cult horror movie from the 90s. I was just as shocked as you. Somewhere between picking up trash and drinking beer from a toilet bowl, Val and Earl start to think maybe getting out of town would be a great idea. I assume getting sprayed with shit pretty much seals the deal. Spoiler alert, they're shit in this. They're on their way out to Bixby when they notice their neighbor Edgar sitting on an electrical tower, assuming he got too drunk to come down. In reality, he's suffering a severe case of deader than a doornail. Dr. McBorrowed-Time determines that he died of dehydration, meaning that he had to have been sitting on the tower for at least 3 or 4 days. You may be wondering about the other folks in town right about now. Allow me to introduce them to you. Dead Meat, Not a Chance, Monster Chow, and Miguel. He exists. Oh, dead already? Alright then, bye!
Oh, Jesus! What the hell's going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
I don't know. What do you think, Construction Mario? It's me, cannon fodder! That may seem like a pointless, superficial reference joke, and it is, but it's also a plot point. The attack on the construction workers causes a rock slide, which blocks off the only road out of town. Yeah, apparently there's cliffs and mountains and whatever. They needed some reason why they couldn't get out. Val and Earl find the bodies and take off back to town, getting stuck briefly on the way back. It turns out something was attached to their truck. And that something is a sock puppet. Adorable.
I'll give you boys $5 for this.
20.
Okay, 10. 15. Okay, 15.
Damn right, 15.
Meanwhile, the townsfolk are busy with the task of figuring out just what in the hell. The best conclusion they can come up with is some sort of mutated snake. I think that's the technical term.
I'm dead.
Yep, pretty much. Bye! The death of the doctor's wife is probably the best one in the movie, in that it's genuinely scary. The audience still doesn't know exactly what it is that's attacking everyone, and let's be honest, having your car pulled underground with you in it would be a pretty horrible way to die. That's what makes this a great comedy.
Why aren't you calling somebody in Bixby? The police are...
Oh, no. We can't reach outside the valley because of the mountains.
Oh, guess she had to be reminded of that, despite living there for years. With no phone and no way to drive out, they decide to send out the best horseback riders. And I guess Val is it because he has a cowboy hat or something, I don't know. Yep, that joke was definitely worth almost getting your head shot off. Good one! And that's why Melvin is our Scrappy-Doo. Aw, that's tough. Looks like we need some grief counseling, courtesy of our good friend Reba. Oh wait, they wrapped this thing around me and made me lay on the ground! Nay! Look at that design. It's got 3 snakehead tongue things. That's freaking awesome. Tell me that doesn't look like something that could actually exist. And if it did, we'd be totally boned. Unable to appreciate how awesome it is due to it wanting to eat them, Val and Earl hightail it and end up jumping into an aqueduct, which the creature rams into and ends up killing itself. Boo!
Fuck you!
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Ew, not Rhonda McCooties! Well, anyway, she uses her book knowledge to determine that because the creature doesn't have eyes, it must live completely underground. Except when it decides to randomly pop up like it did just a little bit ago so the audience can see.
This is probably the biggest zoological discovery of the century.
Hey! Hey, check this out! I found the ascent!
You know me well, Tremors. Rhonda uses the seismograph readings to determine that there are at least 3 more giant underground worm thingies, so celebration is probably not in order. Another one attacks, and they run to a nearby rock formation, stranding them from Rhonda's truck. From this, we learn a few facts. 1, these things can't go through rock. 2, they hunt by sound. 3, rock formations are for character development. Also, I'm pretty sure you can't feed the worms after midnight.
I gotta take care of some business.
Me too.
Same here.
You guys know how to pole vault!
Human ingenuity? No thanks, I'll stick with the poop and pee jokes. The 3 of them pole vault the rocks until they get to the truck, driving back to town.
These animals are huge.
I'm sorry. I'm having a real difficult time with this.
Can't you tell by the terror on my face? Chang comes up with the name Graboids. I'll let you figure that one out on your own, and Val figures that, according to the pattern of deaths, the worms are coming straight for them.
I scared you, didn't I?
Shut the fuck up, Melvin. Yes, eat 'em! Eat 'em! Aww. I'm not gonna say Melvin nearly gets everyone killed, but I have to blame someone, and seriously, screw that kid.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
The Graboid goes after Mindy, and we learn that it actually has a vendetta against pogo sticks, presumably because a pogo stick killed its mother. That's Melvin! Do-do-do. Seriously, screw that kid. Okay, yes, the scene is pretty tense, but I have a question. Just how good is the aim of these things? I mean, they keep popping up right next to the screaming people. Did they just happen to know their main characters? See, Chang didn't have main character status, so perfect aim there. Meanwhile, Melvin is right for the picking, yelling at everything, and the Graboids don't even try to go after him? How is there justice in this world? But hold on to your pants, because here comes absolutely the best scene from the movie, bar none. Heather and Bert have returned from scouting, unaware of what's been going on. They head into their underground bunker. Yes, they have an underground bunker, and it looks like they're going to become Graboid meat. However, as you will come to learn in the Tremors series, the Gummers are nothing if not prepared. Folks, if you take away anything from this movie, it's this. There is no problem that can't be solved by an endless barrage of bullets. If you're ever feeling bad, watch this scene, and I can guarantee you that your day will be 100% more awesome.
broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you, you bastard?
And a celebration with terrible line deliveries.
Got one, he killed one! Way to go, dudes! Alright!
Alright! Alright! So another thing you need to know about graboids is that they keep getting smarter. As such, they're trying to dig underneath the building to break it down. Now running out of time and vehicles, the town comes up with a plan to ride a bulldozer up the Jeep Trail and over the mountains, theorizing that it's too heavy for the graboids to push over. This calls for some heroic music. The graboids start trying to dig out the ground from underneath the bulldozer, so time is of the essence here.
What do you think? Max firepower or this?
I go for penetration, the 458, shooting solids, less ammo to carry.
Yeah, let's just stop and think about this for a bit. Somewhere between middle of nowhere and you're totally fucked, the graboids actually do dig out a trap for them. After scaring the worms off with some homemade bombs Bert and Heather have brought, you know, just in case, they run to some nearby rocks. And as we all know by now, rock formations are for character development.
If it comes to starvation, I know what I'm doing. Take one of these, walk right out there with the fuse lit and let them take me down. Boom.
Good Lord, honey.
I'm really concerned for you. However, since they don't want to let good bombs go to waste, they figure they might be able to use them to fight the worms. Chances are bombs are helpful in this situation. So they create some noise, get one of the graboids to come up, and calmly discuss the pros and cons of eating people, which may be a sign the worm is acting out because of an unfulfilled childhood. Alright, they've got one worm left, and it's not falling for the same trick. They've got to take this sucker out, and either way, it's gonna be messy.
Too far, you throw it behind him! Yeah! Can you fly, you sucker? Can you fly?
Somehow, this makes me proud to be an American. Obligatory wrap-up, Val and Earl are moving on, folks get to be rich and famous, and the end of the movie kiss. This needs a little something. There we go. Well, they'll probably never see any of those things again. There are too many great moments in this movie to list them all, so instead I'll go over why I think this has become such a classic. Part of the reason the movie is so endearing is because it works on the opposite of horror movie logic. It isn't about seeing people die, it's about seeing them survive. You want them to beat the shit out of these things, and half of the fun is seeing how they take out the monsters. It's also unusual in that it's a horror movie that takes place largely during the day. They managed to come up with a creature that could feasibly exist, and having the graboids underground was a clever way to make them scarier and harder to track. Add to that creative creature designs, original characters, and endless quotable moments, and you've got yourself a classic movie. And it doesn't end there, because next week, we're gonna see the graboids again. See you then.
Tremors 2 Aftershocks. Starring Fred Ward, Michael Gross, Christopher Garten, and Helen Shaver.
Damn worms never cut you any slack.
Well, pardon me, but you've had my attention ever since you strolled into the room. Believe me that it's not my intention if I appear to come home too soon.
Hey, Melvin, you want to make a buck?
Eat it.